In the past few weeks, Twitter has been filled with news of Brics and how the organization is going to take over the international system. In the following video, we're going to explore some of this news and maybe explain why is it a little bit too overblown or exaggerated. In the following video, we're going to explore the idea if Brics as an organization will be successful or not. Before we get into the evidence and video, it's important to mention that this is solely an opinionated video and for educational purposes only. In essence, I will be making a prediction on what will happen to Brics, of course, using evidence and prior history. In addition, if you disagree or feel like there's something missing out on this video, feel free to comment down below. I would love to open a discussion in the comment section on Brics. So let's begin. Brics, which was formally created in 2001 but gained traction in 2006, is an organization that stems from the idea proposed by China in the 70s in the United Nations, in which they brought to the floor the idea of the Asian value debate, mainly to argue that values differ between countries, and therefore the United Nations and Western countries should not be pushing for human rights agenda around the world. This is because other countries have different values that don't correlate with Western society values, such as working hours, vacation times, or women's rights. This became a huge scholarly debate. And this is where we run into the first problem, which is that you don't build alliances through common hatred. However, Brics started as an organization to promote development in the global south. However, in recent times, it has become an organization that promotes the equal hatred towards the US and the de-dollarization of the world. This is by challenging the post-World War II order established by the UN and the United States. And this is where we run into the first problems, which is that you don't build an alliance through the common hatred for a country. The US tried to do this in the beginning of the Cold War, and it did not work. Why? Well, countries won't follow you or your agenda in the long term because they won't see an economic benefit. However, is it going to be successful? Yes, in the short term. This is why the US created all the institutions such as the World Bank and the IMF in order to promote their agenda with an economic benefit. Building an alliance for the hatred towards the United States will be successful in the short term, but unable to be sustained in the long term. There's plenty of examples of countries that have tried to build alliances through the common hatred for a country, and they run into problems in the future. Even in World War II, when Hitler betrayed the Soviets were stupid in building an alliance with Hitler through the common hatred for Poland and other Eastern European nations. In the next part of this video, we're going to explore the idea of de-dollarization and how the Brics are trying to challenge the monetary regime established by the United States. However, my opinion is that this won't be successful, and here are the 3 reasons why. First, 1970s. The Global South tried to push back at the United States and the dollar. However, what happened? Well, it didn't work. It actually backfired, made the dollar and the US economy even more stronger because corporations realized the benefits of the dollar. Another example will be 2013. After the 2008 financial crisis, Europe and China tried to challenge the dollar. And what happened? Well, European nations experienced one of the biggest crises in the world. And in essence, many countries realized the stability of the dollar and the benefits of holding a monetary piece that is always in circulation is hard to find. The US dollar is not only the most stable piece of monetary tool, but it's also the most used currency. American society is by far the most consumer addicted society. Nowhere in the world is normal to go to the mall and spend thousands of dollars and then $400 on dinner with your family. The next reason why I think this de-dollarization conversation is a little bit overblown, well, Russia is losing a war against one of the poorest nations in Europe. Saudi Arabia is not very stable and changes their foreign policies every 10 years. And China is in the brink of a housing crisis and social crisis. However, the yuan is not widely available and stable to be used as a reserve currency as of now. The euro was thought to be the next dollar. However, as we learned after the European crisis, we learned that the European euro is very vulnerable since Europeans are not as big as consumers as Americans are. According to the evidence, the best way to build an alliance are the following. Now, in the next part of this video, we're gonna research the evidence on what are the best ways to build an alliance. And first, ancestry. The UK and the US have a great relationship. This is not because of economic commonality, but ancestry commonality. We also see this with Germans in the US during World War II, who did not want the US to go to war against Germany since that was their heritage, so there was some sort of nationalism inside them. Another way of building alliances through economic relations. Mexico and the US, or even France and Germany, are a great example of countries that don't really have an ancestry relationship. However, through economic relation and globalization, in many ways, the French and German economy, for example, cannot survive without the other. And same goes for Mexico and the US, which even though the US economy is 10 times larger than the Mexican economy, the relation is highly tied economically. Through foreign direct investment, American companies setting factories in Mexico, such as Ford and GM, and many food companies. But the best way to build an alliance with other states is through ideology. Religion is one of the main ways to build an alliance coalition. We see this in Europe and through the Muslim world. While heritage and economic alliance are a great way to integrate two economies, religion goes farther. By leaving any nationalistic view aside and focusing on the stability of the society or the brotherhood. We see this in the Middle East, where countries that are Shia Muslim, even though they will be better off trading with Sunni Muslims, Shia Muslims agree that their religious values come first before economic values. Same goes with Christian countries. Even though many Christian or Catholic countries will be better off trading with countries that don't follow their values, they still don't do it, just because values come first. However, hatred for a country does not build an alliance. Here are the main problems with Brics. Russia and China have border disputes, which have to be solved one day. Also, Russia and China want to be the leader of the next world order. However, as we know, authoritarian rulers have very big egos, and both China and Russia want to be the leader of the next world order. Do people really think that China will allow Putin to be the leader of the next world order, or the other way around? Or even between these countries, their ruling system and ideologies are very different. There's a great example of this in the 80s. When China started growing at an exponential rate, Russia tried to minimize this growth because Russia have always wanted to be the leader of the socialist world. Another huge problem inside of Brics? Well, Saudi Arabia doesn't agree with China's treatment of Muslims. Saudi Arabia is the leader of the Muslim world, and I doubt they would come to defend a country like China in a conflict when the Chinese are literally killing their own people. Do you really think that Saudi Arabia will defend a country that is killing their own religion and their people for believing their religion? There's too much friction between Brics, and the reality is that apart from oil, they don't have any geopolitical variable that makes the ball go to their part. Remember, China has absolutely no natural gas, and almost all of it comes through ports. And the US is still the ocean superpower. None of the Brics have microchip technology, which you absolutely need in order to be successful militarily. There's just too much happening between these countries, and building an alliance through the common hatred for the West or the United States won't be successful. And they know this. A week ago, Brics launched a new program for indebted countries. Now, thank you for watching this video. In this video, we basically evaluated some of the evidence and used it to predict what will happen to Brics. Now, of course, this comes from an educational standpoint and from all the research I've done. If you'd like this video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. I do similar content every week. And let's open a debate in the comment section. Let's talk about why or why not Brics will be successful as an organization. And maybe in the future, I'll make a video on why Brics will be better, more successful than the G7 or Western society.